As a software engineer at Google, I have written tons of design docs myself.
Hot take, in 2024, if your design doc does not provide LLM context that allows the language model to technically guide your implementation, it's not specific or low level enough. Everyone go follow Sweet Guru, he's great. Lalit is his name if I'm not mistaken. And so in this video, I'm going to explain my design doc mental model, and I'd love feedback from Lalit. I mean, this guy knows how to write a design document too. My background, 10 years plus of experience. I'm a staff software engineer. I've written 4 design docs this past 2 weeks, so I write a ton of design docs. Previous company, Upstart, I designed our design doc process. I led the Python Guild, a practice area of over 100 contributors. So I have high level experience myself, but Google as a company, very well known for their high quality design doc process. Would love some feedback. Here's how I do things. Provide technical background. Whenever you refer to code, link to the GitHub URL or the repository URL of that code if possible. If I'm talking about a banana entity, provide a hyperlink to the banana model. Your background section should provide some narrative context. It should be concise, half a page at most ideally. You should link to your project requirements document. Hopefully you have a PRD. You should also link to your project management software, whether this is a Jira or anything else. Link to the tasks that are related to the epic organization of your design. Give your design a concise title. This will make conversation around the design easier. Right under the title, list the key contributors and leaders who are driving this effort. That should include you if you're writing it, and other key members on your team. You can even list the team names instead of individual names if you prefer. The idea here is that when someone reads the document, they should be aware of the key stakeholders right up front. This will have things to do with maybe you need to get permissions, maybe you're going to ask other teams to perform tasks. Someone should be able to get a mental model of who are the human resources involved within the first half a page. Part of these resources, background context that may also be useful is Slack channels or chat channels, whatever tool you're using, Slack teams, whatever you're using for these teams. If the banana team is involved, go ahead and add a Slack channel. Often banana team may map to some other Slack channel, which is not hash banana team. It might be like hash super duper people is actually the channel for banana team. That's one of these strange information that's useful to include in the design doc background section. The next section after background that I go to is SMART metrics. We want some optimization criteria. SMART means that it's going to be measurable, and these metrics will allow me to optimize my design against some numerical values. These should be aligned to corporate OKRs or corporate goals. So customer satisfaction would be a common one, revenue, profit, cost savings, time savings, all of these sorts of things. Propose, get sign off on the metrics that you're going to use for optimization. Now that we know what we are optimizing against, the next section is possible solutions. There should be at least 2 here. If there's only one possible solution, you should not be creating a design doc. And you probably have not thought the problem through very well, because in programming, there are many isomorphic ways to accomplish the same execution process. And so very often there should be at least 2. Some of the mental models you can use here: should I do things from scratch? Is there another enterprise tool in my company that I should be leveraging? Is there an external tool that I should be using? And then if I do this from scratch, there's probably different ways. Should I be using a batch process or a streaming process? So think through all of these options. Right there, you probably have 3 to 5 already. There should be at least 2, and I like to go up to 5, sometimes 7. After 5 or 7, you really start to hit diminishing returns. And so I really start to leave those off. I may just make a note. There are some other solutions too that we just didn't think were even really worth detailing. After the preferred solutions, and they're going to have pros and cons for each, then I go to my preferred design. So I pick the one that I think best matches given the constraints of risk. We want to minimize risk, maximize reward. We're going to have timeline constraints. And so as the driver of this design doc, I'm going to propose my favorite solution there. Now that we know the preferred solution, let's talk about rollout. So rollout is the next section. Are we going to use feature flags? Are we going to use green-blue deployment, percentage rollout? Do we need a team together late at night? Are we going to do like a late night rollout? Is on-call going to be aware? So all of these things are in the rollout plan. After rollout, the next section is mitigation. So let's plan and anticipate that something will go wrong. Let's predict what is going to go wrong and then have a plan to address it. So for feature flags, simple mitigation is to turn the feature flag off. If it is a variable feature flag, you might change the number. Maybe you're changing it to 0. This will list the feature flag name to make things easy. As part of rollout, you should also include the logs that people should be monitoring. Another common mitigation strategy will be a code rollback. So if this is multi-component, you need to list the components that will be rolled back. Or you could do a fast follow or a hotfix. Justification will need to be made here that there will be some low urgency problem so that you can sort of just let the problem live in production for some time, maybe 24 hours or something. Without that justification, hot fixing is probably not ideal. You're going to want to prevent or roll back instead of letting something live there. But in some cases, it's acceptable. In some cases, a mitigation will require script changes or database value changes. Maybe you need to backfill or fix if some data goes wrong. And those are the main components of the design doc. I will sometimes have like an other notes or miscellaneous section down at the bottom. Hopefully it's thin because hopefully whatever information you need to communicate has a better home somewhere else. Sometimes I will mention work that may follow. And so I don't really want that in the background. So I might have like a subsequent work section. But mitigation is very often the last section there. What do you like and dislike about this process? Is there anything you would change or improve? Hope this helps. Follow for more. Look forward to your feedback.